what's up with it? Do it cause I love it and I stuck with it. We ain't with the subbing in the cut with it. Please done the talks, I heard enough of it. Like, what you gonna do? Where you at? Who you with? You ain't really about this, don't talk about it. Really on the move, on the map, never slip. Keep your hands to your lips, don't talk about it. Real eyes, realize all the time. Stand on it, if we said it, we don't walk around it. Loose lips, ain't shifts, red cup, blue strips, new phone, who this? No, we don't allow it. Really on go, I don't know what's an off day. Now we on road, came from smoking in the hallway. Now we got shows, boys feeling like Broadway. Always look both ways, even on a crossway. Driving down Cross Bay, out town Barclays. Really on big things, came up a small way. Championship rings, baby, that's a ball game. Oh, she want a little bag, baby, that's small change. Yeah, that money talk. If we ain't cool, then cut me off. No breaking news, don't run your mouth. Thought it was the plug, now he running off. Thought it was a plug, now he running off. What you gonna do? Where you at? Who you with? You ain't really about this, don't talk about it. Really on the move, on the map, never slip. Keep your hands to your lips.
Hey guys, welcome to the 5 F's to Love podcast network. I know you're probably thinking tonight is the men's night, and you're right. Why? Because you just saw the promo. We're going to have a very interesting conversation. I think for me it's interesting because as a Black woman, I know there's a difference between Black manhood and just manhood in general. There are some different things that they have to manage that other cultures may not have to manage. And we're going to talk about the impact of that and how do you actually take those roles and put them in the right order so that you are truly a man. I'm one of those women who truly believe just because you have a penis doesn't make you a man. I think there's some other character traits that make you a man. I think you're a man, but there's a difference between a real man, a man that's taking care of his business. See, there's two different things. So we're going to talk to the guys tonight so we can sort this all out. So guys, you know, I'm about to bring them in. Hey, what's going on, Matt?
Hey, Christine, how are you?
You know, Matt, you know, I absolutely love and adore you. I think you're like an excellent definition of like a man.
Oh,
I love your family, your wife, the way you guys work together, and you just build strong character. But I know you're going to bring all that up, but I just want to say you're an excellent example of a two-parent household and how you guys are managing things. I just think great conversation to have with you, right?
Looking forward to it.
I'm excited. And then you guys know my other favorite person is Tim Good Guy. He is like the single dad knocking it out with 3 boys and not missing a step. You're doing the most.
What's up, man?
What's going on, brother? What's going on, man?
And I'm going to tell you the insight of this guy and his humor on things. You guys know I love when Warrick Ray is on.
Hey, Chris, how you doing? Hey, Matt. Hey, Tim. How y'all doing?
You guys all together are very interesting. And I know Doc will be joining us later in the conversation. But I think this is a great way to start this conversation because I got Matt, who's married, Tim, who's not, and Warrick, who isn't married yet. So this is going to be an interesting conversation, a perspective that each of you have on this whole thing around Black manhood. All right, so, you know, before we go to commercial break, I got to start with my first question because, you know, Christine got a lot of questions tonight. So when people say there's a shortage, oh, I'm sorry, this is the wrong one. Like I got the wrong show up. That just tells you how like tired I've been the past couple of days. Okay. So what is your definition of manhood? And you guys have like 1 minute to respond. What's your definition of manhood? Who wants to go?
All right. So my definition of manhood is, you know, typically people say, you know, priest, provider, protector, right? I get that. And that's true. But the other part of it is relationships, respect, and responsibility. And responsibility is probably the number one thing, because if you have children, you are responsible for your children. If you have things that you're responsible for in your life, you got to take care of business. And it's simple, just as simple as that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Warrick or Tim?
Just basically, you're a man and you know what you got to take care of. That's your family responsibility. And just living according to a man like a man should live. And that just basically it. That sums it up.
Okay, Tim?
My take on it is just a man is just a certain type of integrity that his beliefs and his belief mechanism that he instills in his children and so on down his bloodline, that, you know, it could be any kind, you know, some people, their beliefs can be racism or whatever, but a real man is going to stand for some principles and probably kick your ass if you get out of line, if you cross that line. So with me, it's just about standing what I believe in is right and wrong, and take care of my business. And a man, when he takes care of his business, he don't look around and wait for no whole bunch of applause or no claps or nothing. Like people tell me all the time, man, how do you do it, man? Can't take care of your kids and all that stuff. I say, when you don't got a lot of choice, it kind of narrows it down. You know what I mean? So, I don't look for no trophy or no pat on the back for taking care of my business. You know what I mean? That's what a man's supposed to do. So, that's, to me, it's just simple.
Okay. I like that. Thank you so much. Chantel, thank you so much for watching. She said good evening to all, and hi, Tim Good Guy.
What's
and
up,
then
Chantel?
we also have Jenny Bean. She said howdy, y'all. Hey, Good Guy.
What's up, Jenny Bean?
All right, so guys, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick commercial break, because when we get back, I'm going to ask you, if you had to divide manhood into 5 sections, what would they be? An example is provider, father, etc. But I want you to divide up into 5 sections. And this is to give men an insight, especially young men who are just starting out with families, the things that they may need to grow into. Because it doesn't mean that you have all these character traits or these things right now. It means that at some point you do need to grow into them. So we'll be right back. See how I prompted you guys to give you time to think about it while we're on commercial break? Getting better at this. That's all I got to say. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
My name is Christine Burkett, the inventor of the 5 F's to Love. This is a compatibility app. It's an app that gives you an opportunity to rate words to start with the letter F in chronological order of importance to you, to help you find your one true love, your soulmate, and the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So after you've taken the time to rate your F's in chronological order, you send a link to the person, you just met, or the person you've been dating for quite some time. Or maybe it's the person you've been married to for 30 to 40 to 50 years. And then you compare your top 5 F's to find out what things you have in common and things that you may perhaps need to work on. This is taking a simplistic perspective on how to find your one true love, your soulmate, the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. And thank you for downloading the 5 F's app.
Hey guys, welcome back. And so we're going to go right into the conversation. So when we last left off, I asked you guys the question, if you had to divide manhood up into 5 sections, what would they be? Who wants to take the first stab at this? Why is everybody shying away from us?
Look, there's probably about 100 sections that define manhood, but all right, I'm gonna grab the quick 5 easy. And you mentioned 3: priest, provider, protector, respect and responsibility. And I put respect and responsibility in there because, you can meet some guys who are, priest, provider, perspective, and they just mean. Just absolutely no respect for you as a person. That can happen. So there's a respect level that you got to instill in the people around you, whether that's your children, whether that's people who come in contact with you. Because in this world, if you don't demand respect, you won't get it. And so that's really one of the big pieces for manhood. And it doesn't matter kind of who you are or where you at. Your respect, especially as a Black man, will be challenged. So you have to stand up for yourself. And then responsibility, we already talked about. I'm a big believer in responsibility. So that's my 5.
Okay. Tim?
Like you said, he said it first, but the 3 P's are definitely the 3 P's, just the foundation of everything. And like I said, a lot of it is respect, because you got to give respect in order to get respect. And I'm gonna give you the utmost respect until then, and then I'm gonna disrespect. But and then like I said, and with far as my children and stuff, and being a strong Black man is knowing that everywhere you go and everything you do, you are a role model. It's always someone looking at you and going to take something from you, whether it's good or bad. So if you turn your cap around right there, whatever, your pants are sagging, one person is going to take that a different way totally than the other person. And you don't have to know them. You could be in a grocery store and they just see you or something like that, but you are a role model. And how you stand up and what you stand for, especially as a Black man, means a lot, because I work around with a a lot of professionals, a lot of white men, and a lot of 800 credit scores and all that stuff. Sometimes they come in and then they think that they're up here, and before they leave, they realize they're not really up there. You know what I mean? They're right here, eye to eye. And then when it gets all eye to eye, the playing field is even. and you know what I'm saying? Then that's when the respect comes out.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, Warrick.
To add to what they're saying, you got provider and protector. You got to be a protector also, because a woman don't want to be with you. She feel like she can't protect. You can't protect her, and then you have kids and you can't protect them either. So protection is the main one of the manhoods. You got to be able to protect the people you love, and not only by physical, also protection of their future. Protection. Like if you gone, what are they gonna do? So you got to have some kind of protection, financially have them stable when you go. So that's basically it.
Okay, those are all interesting things. I think as a woman, we see it totally different. Not totally different with the respect thing, 100% the protector thing, but nobody mentioned effective communicator. You do all those things. If you're not an effective communicator, how does that play out? Which is one of the downfalls of a lot of relationships, because men don't talk a lot.
I mean, a lot
What
of
is
times,
that?
from a woman's point of view, everything's going to be communicatable about. Let them tell it. But from a man's perspective, stuff that's understood don't need to be said all the time and repeated. Women have the general time of saying something and repeating until it comes into almost a push and shove match, when we already went over that 5 hours ago. Why are we still talking about something that's already understood?
Okay, well, can I ask a question? What if something is not even understood, not spoken, and you're making the assumption? See, the thing is, I agree with you. If you've already talked about something and that's clear, but what if you've never talked about anything? So we're just talking about effective communication in a sense of, that's the question I have. When you're a man, are you going to be open to the person you're with and communicate when you have issues, questions, or concerns? When you don't feel 100% a man, for whatever the reason is, are you going to communicate those things?
Yeah,
Or are you just
I
going to
agree
walk
with
around
you.
doing
I agree
other
with you on
things?
that. But then it all goes to timing and touch too. There's a time for certain type of conversation, and there's a time for not certain types of conversation, and that part has to be felt its way out. If I just came home from work from a long day, I want to decompress for 30 minutes. I want to take my shoes off and just breathe out for 30 minutes. I don't want to answer no trig question or no algebra question at 30 minutes after I get off work and I done drove 45 minutes. I will get back to you, and we will talk about that, but sometimes we gotta, we can't force a conversation. And doesn't mean the men don't really mean that like they're dissing you or blowing you off about not having it right then. It's just a lot of times, for one thing, we don't want to have an appointment to have that conversation.
And
Oh, no,
look,
I understand what you're saying.
Christine, to back up what my brother was saying, all right, this communication is very important. I work with women. And so everyone talks about what the man says, but what's even more important is what is the woman hearing. That's the second side of communication. So if a woman is not hearing you, or if your spouse is not hearing you, or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, if they're not hearing you, you can talk to the cows come home. But there are three types of listening. There is active listening, there is passive listening, and then there's not listening. And most people do passive listening or not listening, because what you led us with, if you've been with somebody for more than 6 months, my brother said it, what's understood doesn't have to be spoken. What new thing are you going to come up with in 6 months that you need to talk to them and get their feedback on, that you don't already know what they generally think, how they generally should act? So it should be short conversations. So
overall, and I think you guys are missing what I'm saying 100%. This is not about
You sure?
one-off. This is not about a one-off.
You sure?
The biggest issue, no, you're not, because I want you guys to understand this is like a big issue for most women. Men are not effective communicators. You're more action oriented and like, well, this is what I did, so why didn't you understand that to be? So the thing I'm saying to you guys is I don't want you guys, this is not, for me, it's not a debate because I date men. It's different when you're friends with men versus when you're in a relationship with men. You guys may talk amongst each other, but in a relationship, sometimes you guys are not the best communicators. And I agree, you shouldn't catch somebody when they're coming home from work or they're tired. That's totally, I'm just saying overall, that's something that I think men need to look at.
A lot of times us men will have the conversation. Our brain span lasts for all of about 5 minutes on that conversation. We figure we done answered the whole question then in the 5 minutes we did, and there's no need for us to stay on the phone.
Did you say 5 minutes, Tim?
25 more minutes.
Did you say 5 minutes?
I'm just telling you.
What kind of crap is this? Wendy, thank you so much for watching us. She said,
Maddie.
hey, Tim, good guy.
Hey,
Chantel says, I agree with Tim and Ray.
And there's no need to stay on the phone for 25 more minutes about that.
Okay. All right. So she said, I agree with Tim and Ray. She also said, Chantel said, true, Christine. We were talking about communication. She said, boom, you're right, Matt. See, the thing is, she's laughed. She's doing an LOL as well. The thing is, we women, and I'm not one of those women who like to talk. I just need to understand what you're saying, process it, and then I'm good. Whether I like it or not, I could be like, that's really fucked up what you just said, but I'm accepting it and I'm not going to talk about it again. So to me, I look at two things. It's what you say and what you don't say. See, to me, sometimes your actions speak louder than your words. Because I'm the kind of person, I'm only going to talk about it one time and then I'm over it. And so the question I have for you guys is, what role does a woman play in this scenario of manhood? Does a woman play a role in this at all?
What you mean? What role should she play in the manhood? I mean, like,
I'm just saying, does a woman play a role at all in this whole thing? So number one, all of y'all are birthed from a woman. That's number one. All of y'all at some point was raised by a woman. So I just need to know, you're not just marrying them and screwing them and having kids with them. You guys all came from a woman's vagina. So I need to know, what role does a woman play?
And where did woman come from?
Another woman.
A man's real.
Okay, are we going back to the Bible?
I'm just saying, if we're gonna call
okay, we can skip that because Tim,
we're gonna talk about where we came from.
For the past 100 years, all of us have come from vaginas, not ribs.
My opinion, just like you have an opinion, is a woman is gonna be the queen to the man. I mean, no need to be a king if you don't have a queen. But the queen is there to stand beside the head of the house of the. She submits herself to the man that lets him be the ruler of the throne. Not that she's taking a back seat to him. She is acknowledging he's the king, whether he's the king of the goat herd or whatever the king is, he's of. And she does have input, but she stands behind his decision at the very end. And that's what makes a good queen. Because I'm sure Michelle Obama doesn't agree with everything that Obama did, but she stood by him.
Okay, Warrick.
I just think that a woman, a man, it takes a man to raise a man. I'm not saying a woman can't. She can try to give him the foundation, how to be a man, but it takes a man to raise a man, to make him that strong man that he needs to be. If that's what you're trying to say, how a woman fits in with a man, I think a man should raise a man, and every child needs a father. So I think that's what makes them strong, and that's what keep.
So you think that the role of the woman is just what? Nothing?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that, and we talk about manhood now. In manhood, for a woman to try to, try to be a part of that man decision making, like Tim was saying, it's basically it's the man first, then the woman should make the suggestion. But I think at the end of the day, it should be the man decision.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah, so I think that obviously women play an important role, but it depends on the time. It depends on the time of life that you're talking. So it's not just that you're a male from 0 to 80. There's different times in your life when women play different roles. So let's say from birth to 12, birth to 12. The first 7 years of your life, you need both parents, a good balance. Sometime after 12, between 12 and 18, you need a man in your life to help you understand what it's really like to be a man. And I think so many times in our community, especially in the Black community, if there's not a man in the household present, whether that's an uncle, a grandpa, a friend, somebody who's not going to take advantage of your child and will teach your child, if that child doesn't get it, then you get a lot of disrespect, a lot of bad behavior. Not just Black boys, all boys go through that during their teenage years, and girls too, quite frankly. So, I mean, there's a role for mom, there's a role for women. Once you become a man, listen, a woman can either help you succeed or she can help break you. She can't break you on her own, but she can sure help break you. And so as Black men, that's what we deal with. And so how do you find these right women in your life who can build you up and not tear you down?
You know what, Matt? I'm going to say thank you. That's what I was looking for. Not that I'm discounting Tim or Ray, but I do want to say, folks, women these days, one, I'm not going to stand behind anybody. I just don't think at this point that's just very unrealistic. I think we're both on an even playing ground and we each have a voice. Now, when it comes to speaking in our household, depending what space we're in, of course I will let my husband speak over me because we've already spoken about what he's going to speak about and we came to a common agreement. But in no way, shape, or form, this whole submission thing and all of that, I don't believe in that. I think each person should submit to one another. I don't believe that and I do agree with Matt that the wrong woman can break a man. And that's where I always have big issues because it seems like women who are very strong in their beliefs and their work ethic, sometimes men don't see them as partners. They see them as threats because those women can perceive to want to be equals. I don't want to be equal with a man. Will I kill a spider? Yeah. Will I pick up a dead squirrel? You darn right I will. If I have to, you're not home, I'm going to do it. Will I patch up a wall? Yep. If you're not home and it need to be done, I'll do it. But my first choice is wait till he get home. Let your daddy do it. See, that's
Christine, listen.
That's good.
You say you don't want to stand behind a man, but I'm gonna tell you, we just talked about the 5 things that make a man, right? Yeah. 5 things. Mm-hmm. So protector. You in the club, you someplace dangerous. You don't want you're gonna stand in front of the man. Like, what difference does that make? You want to be a priest. So you go to the altar. Somebody got to pray for somebody else.
But Matt, Christine is saying everything from a CEO's point, that from everything is according to agenda and this, that. You are a respected woman as an equal or as a chief CEO or whatever. So every answer that you're coming back on is coming back from a very small piece of the pie in the world. So you got to be there.
My answers are related to me being a CEO.
I was going to finish because we're doing it again. So you're coming from a very small piece of the pie out of the 100 percentile of women. You know what I mean? So you are here, there. You're doing it. You're competing against men every day because that's your job. But if you were to bring that home to your man, it's not probably going to be a good lasting relationship unless you have a weaker man.
So you know what? I'm going to go to commercial break because one thing Christine don't do, I don't date weak men, and I know how to be a wife at home and a boss lady outside of my house. So Tim, I'm going to disagree with you because I wasn't raised to be mannish in my household. I was raised by these two people back here. I know how to be a wife and a mom, but I also know how to take care of my business. And when I say I'm not going to stand behind a man, if I'm out busting my ass, making money like he making money, then we're both decision makers. Now, again, Matt, to your point, when it comes to the club, if somebody hurt my man, then I'm jumping up to defend my man. I'm that kind of chick. So don't let Prada and that CEO fool you.
Don't let it fool you.
Don't let it fool you because I'll take off an earring and some heels in a minute. If you after my man, it's 2 people coming at you, not one. When I'm with you. I don't do all that. All that cuteness, that CEO stuff. Tim.
When we come back, I'm gonna tell you.
I ain't gonna say nothing else because you obviously got warm about that because it's more than one side of the story. You have your opinion right there, and I'm fine with that. But just like Matt was saying, when it really goes down, it's a different story. I've been around when it really goes down, and I seen who was running and who was up under the car and everything else, and I seen who said this and that. It's a different story.
Okay, so folks, when we get back, we'll talk about that, because I want to be clear. My first husband was an undercover officer, so I've been in those situations.
But we're not talking about.
But let me be clear. Let me be clear. Every man just assumed that a woman's not gonna have his back. I know some chicks that got you, and I can name about 20 of them right now. They not, but they still ladies though. They still ladies, but they got you. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Give me some directions to get to you. Ain't gonna waste my time. I know that we got connection. I think about you. You're on my mind. Yeah, I'm going out of my mind. Yeah, for you, my love. You drive me crazy, tell me what to do. I'm on my knees, yeah, I am begging you. I'll break the rules if it will get me to, yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to the 5F's to Love Network. Tonight we have Real Talk with the Men, and I've gotten a couple text messages saying, be nice to Tim. Be nice to Tim. I'm being nice to Tim, but I just have a different perspective than I think probably most people do. And I don't know. I don't want to walk behind a man. I just think that's a horrible way to approach any relationship.
But nobody said walk behind a man. We talking about walk beside us. When I said your rib is on the side, we talking about walk beside us. We're not saying you have to take a back seat or none of that. And I didn't mean the word submissive like you was taking it as submissive. It's just meaning that you're letting your man lead your head of your house. So it's not going to be too.
And I'm open to that.
You're going to go ahead.
I can say, like in today's society, you just got so many women trying to be men, and you got so many men trying to be women. Like you can't even get a polo shirt now because all the women's wearing it. You know what I'm saying? And the girls and the guys and the ladies can't even get a purse because all the men got them. All I'm saying is that
it is.
It's true. And you have women saying, I don't need a man. All right. Then you got men, somebody, I don't need a woman. Society has totally changed because men do need women and women do need men. You know, that's how it should be.
That's my point. You know? That's my whole point. And I want to be clear, everybody, I'm not being hard on Tim. When you say submissive is different than another man's understanding of submissive. And I just want to be clear. I always want men to define that because I've seen relationships where women were submissive and they were treated like a slave, literally. And that's insane to me. And yes, they were VPs and presidents and companies, and they came home and they were second-class citizen. So Chantel, thank you so much. She says, I agree with Tim. She said, partners are there to help each other see different perspectives. Often women think of the bigger picture and show men the full picture in the decision making. I do agree with that. Gerald said he agrees with Tim, but of course, Gerald, you would, because you and Tim think alike. And I know
a really good woman.
Yes.
She can be the CEO all day, work 12 hours, come home, bake biscuits from scratch, suck your dick, and still take care of business and still be with you. So it ain't about the position or whatever. When I said submission, I'm not telling you to take a back seat. And money don't make nothing. People make money. You know, money is made to be made. So that don't make who you are as a person or what you wear and all this stuff. Because when it really comes down to, when you look to your side, not behind you, Christine, I ain't talking about behind you. When you look to your side, and whether you're sleeping in a car, you're homeless, or you're not that money no more that you have, or you're not all these, you lost your clothes, you're not all these fancy stuff, and you look in that woman looks you in the eyes, and you tell her, baby, I got this. That's the submissive I'm talking about. To know that this man said that, and that's what's going to happen.
Tim, I got a question for Christine, which is completely, I'm actually very interested in hearing your comment on this, Christine. So Christine, if you don't want to be behind a man and it's a single file door, only one person can go through at a time, then are you saying that you want to be the one who goes through the door first and take care of all the responsibilities, to be the priest, to be the provider? You cannot have two people leading anything in this whole world. Nothing can be led by two different people. Somebody has to be the leader. And so if you are a leader, that means the other person by definition is a follower. So if you say, I will not be a follower, then you're not going to be in a relationship where a man is the head of your household. Somebody has to lead. So how can two people lead anything?
Okay, so so the first thing is I'll answer the door question. So if they're a gentleman, they're letting you through first. That's number one, if they're a gentleman, because they hold the door for you. So if you're looking at that perspective.
So let's talk about the door.
No,
but Christine, it's the door to protection.
I'm getting to answer your question.
But Christine, let me say it like this. So one day me and Chris are walking, and there is a pit bull. He's a 100-pound pit bull. And he comes charging across the street. And I stepped up to take the bite. Now, somebody will say, well, she should have stepped up to take the bite. To me, that is an improper relationship. So when you're talking about the door of protection, the man has to go through first in a traditional relationship. If you're talking about the door to priesthood, the man has to go first in a traditional relationship. And if you're talking about the door to provision, the man has to go first, because for one simple reason, if a woman is going to bear a child, at some point she may not be able to work. So the man, if he says we 50-50, what happens when you're on bed rest and you can't do your 50 because you're bringing a child into the world, or perhaps you get sick? So my point would be, in a traditional relationship, the man is the leader and the woman is the follower. No one says you have to have a traditional relationship. You can have 100 different kinds of relationships, but if you're talking about a traditional relationship, that's how it works.
Okay, so now you want me to answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I understood your first analogy when you asked me that question. I was just being a smart ass about you open up the door if you're a gentleman. That was just me being a smart ass. But I will say this to you. My father was a great father. He was definitely a protector, a provider. As far as our faith, we went where he went, all of that stuff. I've seen it. But I also know behind closed doors, my parents talked all the time. Even though he was the spokesperson out in public, they came to a common understanding. So when I say to you, that's what I'm expecting in my household. I don't have an issue with any of those things. I just refuse to be in a household where he's basically in his own mind making decisions and it's not a collective. See, that's the problem that I have. And a lot of times when you say submissive, the man thinks that collectively he can just say and do what he wants and you just need to fall in line. I don't believe in that. I wasn't raised that way. So we talked, he balanced the books.
What man you talking about who thinks that way? Like, I know a lot of
men. Oh, no, a lot of men do. Not you guys. I'm not saying you guys, but trust when I say to you, if I brought...
I might have used the wrong word. I might have used the wrong word there. Sometimes I might put the wrong word in, but like I said, if you take that word out, you still get the general idea of what I was talking about.
Oh, no, listen, I'm not disagreeing with you guys. If it's a good man, I'm okay with that.
When you have two people, woman and man, and I ain't talking about one walk beside the other. We have two people walking with each other in the walk of life, right? If something unconscious happens while they're walking together, and you know what that is? One person is keeping up with the other person's steps. One person is walking, keeping up with the other person's steps. They're not both walking they're both walking at the same time, but one person is keeping up with the other one's step. Is what I'm trying to tell you.
I agree. All right, so my next question to you guys, since everybody's asking me questions, when a man does not have the role model growing up, how does that impact him being a good man? And I'm saying in our culture, a lot of Black men are not raised by their fathers. So how do you then mimic that to be a good father?
Yeah. I'm not going to speak on that. I'll speak to the flip side of the question, which is that having a father and men in your life changes how you're able to move, how you're able to operate, and how you're able to adjust to traditional roles. I'll say that.
I grew up without excuse me for cutting you off, man, brother. I grew up without a father in my life. My mom raised me all the way through my life. My mom's always been in my corner. I never met my dad one time. And, I didn't get old at 18 talking about I need a dad or this, that. So you're all, like I was getting back to what I was saying earlier, you're always going to have a role model. It's always going to be, when Matt was telling you, you can raise a kid so far with your woman's kids and give them more and all this stuff right there, whatever. But it's a dog eat dog world outside there. And a man is going to learn it from either some other man. Hopefully, some of the men I grew up around, they didn't have my best intention for me. They played like they were, but it was only a usury type thing. So they're telling you what they want to know to their benefit. But my children every day, they get to see me get up, get them ready, get them dressed for school, get them a hug, get me ready, and go out the door every day, and to get to see me when I come home from work. They don't get to see me come home from work and feel like I have to have a 12-pack of beer or I got to stop by the store and get a 12-pack of beer or whatever. They don't see that type of example. So coming up, you're going to have some model of a role of a man figure that you're going to gravitate to. And they ain't all going to be Michael Jordan or this one right there. It's going to be some of the guys, that's why I guess I wear all them gold rings. I wanted them gold rings and Cadillacs and all this stuff. When you come, you seeing stuff. So you're going to say that because you're going to find something in a man that you're going to learn from, whether it's gang stuff or whether it's good stuff. That's why I was saying every day you are a role model, whether you're looking or not, because somebody's always looking at you. That little child that you don't even see is looking at you, is watching how you are carrying your pants, how you carry yourself, and so they might tend to gravitate to that.
So my question to you guys is, how do you mimic being a good male if you don't see it? I understand what you were saying, Tim, but how did you make that switch? And I'm going to ask Warrick real quick while you think about it. Warrick, what's your perspective on it? How do you mimic something you didn't experience?
Like I said, they watch TV, they watch everything. Like Tim said, they're gonna gravitate to some guy. If it's bad influence or good influence, they're gonna gravitate to a guy, because regardless if their mom raised them or not, little boys need men in their life. But their upbringing of good fathers in their life, they're gonna make them a better person. But as you get older, that kid gonna become whoever you want to, because, like you said, they got so much influence. They watching it. So regardless of how good you raise your child, they're gonna always do what they want to do, but they will come back. But yeah, that's all right.
And that's woman or man, because even if you're raising a woman, you pretty much just got to worry about making sure she don't get pregnant ahead of time or something like that. But with a man, you got to worry about, is he gonna join the gang? He don't have a lot of money in his pocket. Is this guy right here gonna say, "Here, man, take this pack right here and stand out there, and you bring me back this off of this right here, and I'm gonna give you that. That way you can ride in this car. I'm gonna put you in my Benz, ride around me all day, and set you over here, and you just get rid of this right there and bring me my cut back." So you got a lot of, and you got to try to avoid keeping them out of penitentiary. You got to, and the mom, she does put good morals in a man, because you know better than to raise your damn hand at a woman or something like that, and stuff, and those kind of good morals in you, But the main, it's going to be different than that outside that door to your house. And when you're a
but
man,
then
you're
this is
going to
what
be.
I'm asking you.
So-
Like when you weren't raised by a man, and like you say, you were influenced by a lot of negative things. And my question is,
That's what I'm.
but no, let me, because I just need an answer. My question is, when did you decide this wasn't a good life and that wasn't right, and you switched over and said, this is what I should be doing? When?
So it's not. See, there we go again, Christine. It's not going to be a simple 2-word answer to it, because it's not, and it's not multiple choice either.
No, it's like, were you
but
13,
the easiest
14?
way to. I ain't gonna talk over you.
No, I'm asking you. What age?
Easiest way to learn how to do something right is to do it wrong. If you see a fool, bump his head. If you do it enough times wrong, something's gonna give. If you keep running your head in the wall, something is gonna ring a bell, and whichever way it does, you're either gonna get knocked out or you're gonna wake up. Either one. So it's just that simple.
So were you in your 20s when that happened?
But Christine,
Yes.
here's the thing. What they see they'll be is what the 100 black men say. But what brother's trying to say is there's 100 different lessons that you got to learn. So when you say at what age did you learn what lesson, that's not an A-B question. It's what lesson we talking about. You might learn different lessons at different times. We all still learning lessons.
No, man, I understand that. My question is, was it after you had kids or before you had kids that you said, okay, everything before this was buffoonery and I need to start looking at life differently or take the good out of this? Because the reason why I'm asking you this question is a lot of young boys out there watching this. And if they're 16, 17, 20, 21, 30, they need to know it's not too late for them to then flip the switch. That's what I'm asking you. So I'm saying, at what point?
Life is a lifelong journey. Like Matt said, I still do some dumb shit every now and then on the slide. I don't, not that I mean to, but life is going to be living and learning. I mean, nobody's going to have the key to the answer to every door. And our life would just be a boring life. So you're gonna run this stuff. The thing about it is, at the end of the day, it's up to you to want more or to want what you want right there. But if nobody can put that in you, your wants, what you want out of life. You can lead a horse to water. You can beat a kid. You can tell them this. You can give them that or whatever. That's not gonna make them do anything other than they want to do. You got to try to teach them in a way that makes them want to do better. You got to try to learn in a way that makes you want to do better and build off of little goals. But like I said, it's a lifelong learning thing. Anybody say, any man, especially a black man, say he done learned it all and he's cool. He's not telling the truth.
Yeah, Christine Ray trying to say is that.
And then the really smart person tries to learn something every day anyway.
Okay, Warrick.
Because at the age, a man some guys probably woke up at 25. Then someone did it at 30. Someone probably did it at 18. It's no set answer to that because everybody's their own individual. So it's no set answer to when or what age for a guy to say, hey.
Oh, no, I agree. I was asking Tim specifically what age did he flick the switch, not everybody. I was asking specifically with his situation.
Okay, I didn't know what you're saying.
I was asking him, and that's the answer I was looking for.
I will tell you, late 20s.
Well, thank you. That's all I was looking for, was like, at what point? Because for me, I didn't always want to be a mother. That wasn't on my goal. That wasn't on my goal list. That wasn't anything I had planned to do. I planned just to be a doctor. It wasn't until somebody told me I couldn't have kids that I decided that this is what I wanted to do, right? So I'm saying in everybody's life, you go through experiences and then you decide, I don't want this anymore. I want this. And so that was my question to you guys, because there's a lot of guys who have been to jail. There's a lot of guys who've been like not really hitting that mark, what they feel that a man is. And I wanted them to know when they watch this, it's not too late. You could be 21, 31, 41. It's not too late. That's why I asked Tim specifically, because I know Tim was raised by a mom and he didn't know his father, but he's a great father. So he's an excellent example of, I grew up in some bull crap, but he flipped the switch and he's like this amazing dad. So I was asking, what age did you flip the switch and go, nah, I don't want my kids to grow up like this. I grew up like this, but this is not what I want for them. That's what the question was.
Yeah, you know, the other thing to that, Christine, is it's never too early, right? It's never too early for the switch to get, as you say, switched. Kids now got internet. They know things that you would never have known back when all you had was some books, a big wheel, and a Schwinn bicycle. So times are different. So, you know, when I look at this new generation, with all the information they got, access to information, they know if you're under 18, don't do a crime after you're 18 years old. In some states, don't do a crime after you're 15-year-old. So you got to know the gates, right? What are the gates? You know, don't get children before you're ready to have children. There are certain things that you can escape from. Crime is one, not going to get away from. Children, another lifelong responsibility. So I would tell any young person who's listening to this, be very careful about getting yourself into lifelong commitments until you're ready. And that's crime, that's children, that's things that you're not going to be able to undo in this lifetime.
And thank you so much. That's what I wanted, because I know one young man in particular that has 7 kids. He only takes care of one. That's not being a man, just dropping kids, and you're not being a father to them. So that's like, and that's what I mean, guys. Like this, to me, I wanted this conversation to be a real conversation about you guys being men, and you just didn't wake up one day and decide, oh, no, it was a learning. It was a process that you guys went through, and all of you didn't go through the same process. Just like every woman didn't go through the process I went through to be a woman. It's a different process. But from each one of your stories, I wanted them to understand it's not an easy fix. Social media right now has all of these young men thinking that everybody is a Jessica Rabbit body. She will do anything and anything sexually for you. And cooking is not on the table. So what do you say to those young men that this is what they're seeing? They're seeing reality shows telling what relationships are about. You guys are not reality TV. You're real life. And you guys are nothing like reality TV or the IG situation. Everything you see posted on IG, our kids are watching it more than we are. So what do you say that? We didn't have, what is that thing called that you can go and pay, watch people do stuff? OnlyFans. We got OnlyFans. Our kids are watching this stuff. What do you say to them? Like, what do you say to a young man who's growing up in this world right now, thinking every woman's a Jessica Rabbit? And by the way, they're not showing any of these young girls cooking. They just showing them wearing all this fancy stuff, the latest gear. So what are we teaching these young men now? What are we doing? And how do we switch that for them?
I mean, like I said, you lead by example. Words are only gonna be just words. You know, sometimes when you say words, if a person ain't got their finger in their ear like that, it might just go straight out the other side. So, you know, so a lot of times it's best to lead by example. And when you lead to a kid, like my kids, I done told them I'm gonna bust their ass like 1,000 times. I ain't never did it, so I know they can't be going for that trick anymore. But I'm about to bust your ass, so I know they're not worried about that. They can't be, because I never did it. But the way I talk to them and I treat them, I lead it in a way that they still have a choice to make their own decision. But I give it to them in a way that they know to make the right decision, and I don't give it in a way to them that they could possibly be rebellious or whatever. I explain it to them, I show it to them in a way that allows them to make an educated decision, and without me having to bust their ass, because I'm gonna bust their ass one day.
Tim, you already said that don't work. I
know it.
At some point, he stopped listening because I never did it. So, Warrick, what about you? Like, what would you say to a kid who's watching social media and all this foolishness, and that's not reality?
Yeah, the guys and the females are watching it, so they all believe that this is how the ladies are looking. The ladies believe this is how the men are looking. This is how they live in, you know. But reality, these people are not living like that, you know. And you just gotta live and you learn. Like Tim said, it's gonna be some ups and downs, and you learn from your mistakes, and that's the best lesson. Is mistakes. I can tell you, I can give you the blueprint all you want, but if you're not gonna listen, like Tim said, you can threaten them, hey, I'm gonna bust your butt. They don't care about that. It's just all about.
And then Ray, a lot of men don't have the heart. It takes a big old heart to overcome stuff all the time. There's a lot of black males that throw it in them because it's real easy to just say I quit or I give up and don't want to try harder. So I know plenty of people in the same situation that came from our woods. I right beside me, right there. Whatever you have a choice to get back up. Now you gonna get. I don't have a problem with you getting knocked down, but when I come back 2 weeks later and you still down, I'm fucked up about that now. You know what is you still down for? I mean, you know what I mean. So a lot of it, you gotta have a heart to keep on pushing. You know that nothing's gonna stop you. It's got to be in you, not on you, and that kind of stuff can't be taught to you.
Thank you, Tim. That's what I'm saying. I think our black young men, that right there should be the soundbite of the show. As a black man, you can never give up. You got to keep going and don't let anything knock you down. You got to get back up again and keep trying. Folks, we'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
This a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And this a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And this a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and
I need it all. Do you want it though?
Where do I begin? I see the hate, they don't wanna see me win. Bank deposits, I got more coming in. Top down, throw the money in the wind. I don't want it all. Heard he scammer, had to switch up the accounts. Moving paper, gotta call it my account. It's all in, I can have it coming out. Been through the struggle, I can see another drought. Yeah, it's not a purse, it's a merge. 6 figures, what's a gold? Now it's 9 or a hearse. Put it work. Used to pull up, not swerve. No time for the snakes, trying to put them in the dirt. That's word. I gotta get it, it's in my DNA. You only see the highlights, don't know what it takes. Last year stressing, got no sleep. Now I'm right between the courts, I don't know bleed. I see the hate, they don't wanna see me win. Bank deposits, I got more coming in. Top down, throw the money in the wind. I don't want it all. Heard he scammer, had to switch up the accounts. Moving paper, gotta call it my account. It's all in, I can have it coming out. And through the struggle, I can see another drought. Yeah, same circle, still the same gang. We just get to it, we don't gangbang. Lost some friends to the same thing. Keep a low pro when we maintain. Find us in.
Hey guys, welcome back to the 5Fs to Love Network. Of course, it's Real Talk with the Men. Tonight we're talking about manhood and looking at it from a multiple different lenses. So I'm going to tell you, as a mom who raised a boy, and I did it with a group, and I was one of those people, I sought out men to bring into my son's life. But I will say to you, today I was a little pushed back because my son called me. He goes, I need to get something really nice to where I want to take a young lady to a restaurant. And so for me, the restaurant that he brought out, the restaurant that he's thinking about taking this young lady to, it's a restaurant you would take somebody to if you're going to propose to him. Like, it's like $300 or $400 for a dinner. Like, and this is like small place. This is like, you need to have a real job. So I said to him, why do you think you have to keep entertaining her? And I said to him, I was just being his mom. I said, why do you keep feeling like you have to entertain her? Why can't you go to like Red Robin's or something? Like what young would, you know what he said? And again, social media. Social media's got these kids thinking that you got to be like, you got a real job. Dude, you're in college with a little part-time job. You don't have a real job. Why are you taking her to this high-end restaurant where he literally was like, I need to get a blazer? a really nice blazer. I need a nice look. You know, the look he showed me was like $1,000 look. I was like, dude, I'm not paying for that, and you're not paying for that. So what I'm saying is, I feel like social media is just giving these kids, especially young men, the wrong idea that they have to be pampering these young women. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I'm just saying tone it down a little bit. Red Robin's was good enough. You know what I'm saying? Little Red Robin's was good. I mean, I've been to the restaurant. It's expensive. That's like a real thing. So what do you guys think about that? Did I say the wrong thing to the kid?
Yeah, I think you got to let young people have their experiences. You can give your advice, you know, but I mean, if he's over 18, if he's almost 21 years old, you know, you should just, you know, let him live. I'll give you a reason why. Men need motivation. And if his motivation, if what makes him happy, because believe me, he's getting something out of it by taking her to a whatever 200, whatever this restaurant is. There's something in there. He not crazy. He may not tell you because you're his mama, but there's a very specific reason why he wants to go there and do what he wants to do. So part of being a man and being in manhood is learning how to hunt and learning how to get the things in life that you want and need. And I'm not suggesting that he should take her to a $400 restaurant or whatever it was to get the things that he wanted. I'm not suggesting that he has to wear a blazer to get the things that he wanted. But I would tell you, if he told me that same story, I would be silent. I'm like, listen, for whatever reason, that woman is making him up his game. Okay. And listen, she ain't going to be around for long. I mean, it's just part of the process for him. So don't take that away from him. Let him go through the process. He'll learn. Some people just going to use you. They're going to eat a $200 dinner, and then they'll be calling the next man before they even leave the restaurant. But that's part of the process, right? He has to, you can't tell him that. He's got to learn that.
Okay, I agree. I just went full mama bear. Like, this chick is not worth $400 worth of food. That was just me. Maybe I overspoke.
Look, you don't know what she got. Look, you don't know her.
Yeah, but usually the same thing it takes to get your spouse, your woman, is the same thing it takes to keep it. So you might want to tell him to budget that down a little bit if he ain't gonna be able to do that for the long haul. Because once you start something, so no matter how, like me in the car, if I sell 50 cars every month, it's gonna become average.
Right.
And if you can't continue, best thing you probably do is be yourself and show. Buying somebody something like this never gonna be taken as you care.
Tim, he don't want to keep her. Tim, hey, he don't.
Man, I didn't want to say it, but he don't want to keep her because the dude who don't have no car, don't have no job, don't have no nothing, is gonna snatch her up and beat her back till it's blue and black. Right as she get full on the belly. He might even eat the takeaway, whatever what you call it when you put it in a box and take it home.
The to-go box. To-go box is
he
going
might
over
even eat that.
House. That's right.
The other guy, the guy who ain't got 2 nickels for a dime, might eat that and beat her and do everything else and use her car and leave her at home while you go to another girl's house. So you got.
He probably have a goal too. He trying to get. You know, he probably just trying to get what he can get. Then you know, leave her alone. You know,
because he might come out to you and just give her $100, take it to Red Robin, just there you go, $100. That's right. Now he about an $80.
I thought Red Robin's was a good place to go.
$80 man.
Hey, that's it.
Right.
That's it.
I was over there like
this 100 right here, and we're gonna go to Red Robin. You buy you whatever you want to buy with that 100, and I'm gonna do this Red Robin to keep this other 80 in my sock.
I
Good place to go. Take to. I always take them. You can take them to a pizza place. That's what you do it. Now, if you really like them,
right,
you buy them another slice of pizza. If don't, you don't give them another bite.
I don't know. I agree with all of you. I think you just need to work your way. And like you said, Tim, if you can't consistently maintain this, then don't start it. That's how I am. I'm just average. When people think it takes a lot to make me happy, it doesn't. I don't need to go to them $400 places. If we go there once a quarter, I'm good. I'd rather us do something at home together, make the meal together at home and have our own candlelit thing on our own patio. See, to me, I don't want to waste the money because if it's going to the ocean, I ain't got to be.
Christine, I thought you didn't cook.
Huh?
I thought you didn't cook.
Julian said I can cook certain things, and I'm willing to learn with my spouse. I'm not saying I'm gonna be a gourmet.
And
Okay,
most of those $400 places you gonna have to cook when you leave too. I tried this shit before and got in there, and the lady brought me out some little shit about this big with some little drizzle on the plate. I'm like,
what is that? And you still go home hungry.
Yeah, I got a little bit of medallion. I thought
Small plate.
Medallion on some meat and some sauce dribble on it. For real.
But you say, look, Tim, that steak was this big. It was a
I
tiny
like
steak.
that little medallion. What you call a medallion? I said, damn.
And they be like, wasn't it amazing? No, it wasn't. Gerald said women don't let men cover them anymore. What is it? Big Mansify. I believe a man should discover some fundamental principles to live by in order to keep himself in check. Gerald said, having a great father doesn't equal a great child. They grow up in age of accountability, choices. He also said, great point, Matt. And then Chantel says social media is corruption, which I already said that. I really, truly believe. So thanks, Chantel, for that. She said, and a bad influence on our kids, youth, even on seniors. And I will say it does. I think, especially in this day and age with dating, whether it be our age or younger, I think social media has just totally flipped stuff upside down and people have unrealistic expectations. I'm very old school, very traditional, and I believe in that model with a little tweak because it depends on who the man is, where they literally mean walk behind me because I won't do that. That's where I take a stance. And that whole obey in the marriage vows, I want that out. I'm not a dog. I don't obey. I will listen, appreciate, and respect, but I don't obey. That's got to come out. I'm not a dog. And I don't want a man to obey me. I don't want anybody obeying nobody. That's just
nobody wants a Miss Silly, I don't think.
What you say, Miss Who?
I said nobody wants him a Miss Silly. You talking about like the guy on Color Purple, Miss Silly, huh? Nobody wants that, I don't think.
Well, yeah, and that's the whole thing. Nobody wants that. But you know what? If it was one thing that you guys would say to an adult male or a young man right now about manhood, what would it be? Because when I say to you, I think I see so many young men, like what Tim was saying, with their pants hanging down, walking up and down the street. They don't have jobs. They're kind of misled. Then you got a group of guys who out there hustling, trying to make it happen, but they're so afraid to go to college or to do something that was a career path that's going to make them money. You know what I mean? They're the ones working at the Nike store, Foot Locker, and they end up being a manager and staying there, but you can't raise a family on that. That's good for you right now, but if you get, Shaniqua pregnant, you can't take care of no family on the Foot Locker manager.
And a lot of people go to college and get all these plaques on the wall right there and don't work in none of that field. The only thing.
Well, all right, and that was we didn't get to that question, and you're right. I was gonna say, what do you say to a man who attaches himself to his job, his title, and they lose their jobs? We didn't get to that because we start talking about so many other things. But what would you guys say to somebody like that that's going through all of this?
You just gotta find your path. You're gonna go through a lot of stuff. You just find your path, and I just think that a lot of people are enables. They enable their kids. I mean, next thing you know, the kids like 30, 25, 25, 30, 40, still living with their parents and stuff because their parents didn't have the balls to say, hey, you got to get out, you got to do something, with their life and stuff like that. You got to do something.
Prepare them.
They didn't prepare them for that. Now, my mother lived with me now, and I treat her just like she treated me. I tell her, look, you got to cut these lights off at 8 o'clock because you'll pay the bill. I tell her, I said, if you don't like where I cook, you ain't eating tonight. I treat her like that. She treats me. So she got to get out here and get a job. I tell her, you got to get out here.
Is it supposed to be something different in the refrigerator this time?
She done got you. Tell her, treat her.
What you say? These lights got to be out at 8. Yeah, isn't it so funny how we turn into our parents?
Exactly. So, Christine, for me, it would be one word would be respect, and that is respect yourself, respect others. If you respect yourself, most of the problems in life will fix themselves. And also, if you respect others, certain things you're not going to do. So all the rules, hard working, character, all those things come out of respect. So if there's one word, that's what it would be.
Okay, Tim.
So I was going to say this, getting back to what you were saying about social media. I say this without being all biblical and all this stuff, because I'm not all biblical and stuff. But social media, and like I said, I read something one day, they don't have to make a plan or something to corrupt us or to get rid of us. Because if you think about it, the phone actually itself, it don't have to be social media. The phone actually itself could be the devil. And everybody knows the devil plays in your head. That's why he can throw all these different things up there. So you have kids now at 5 years old, and they're working the phone and all this stuff. So if you ever wanted to assassinate or do something like they with the TikTok now, if you ever wanted to get in a person's head where the devil plays it, or the devil wanted to get at you, all he has to do is just hand you a phone, because most of your time of your day is going to be doing something on the phone. Like I said, and now it's even that a little kid, he'll have a phone. He'll have a whole Apple phone to do it. So they can start you out young at corrupting you and brainwashing you into what, if you're not careful with that right there, whatever. That's why a lot of times they're trying to limit the phone use of these social medias. And just like I said, just in phone and just in general of searching and doing stuff, is just, like I said, anything that can start out at a young age of a kid being able to work and all that stuff really can't be that good, because there's too much negativity out there that goes through the brain and brain words on it, on just seconds after seconds. And it's, like I said, without getting all biblical, that's where a lot of it has to start. It's the time for social media. A lot of times I'll be at work and I don't even think about it. And I extra hit the Instagram button. I'm supposed to be hitting provision. I'm supposed to be looking up a car, appraising the car on VR. I didn't hit the whole thing. So the social media and just the phone in general needs to be set down more than it is, because I mean, anytime you give somebody that much power over your control of you that you got to have. I mean, I lost my phone one time in a customer's car. They drove all the way to Robinson County. I couldn't find my car. I pat myself down, and all of a sudden I just took off running for no reason. I'm like, I don't even know where I was running. I was just running like Forrest Gump was. Then I realized that, damn, it's an MP. Somebody got smart and told me the iPhone fine, and it was in Robinson County. I jumped in a Maxima and took off going to get it, not knowing I didn't have no phone to call nobody, not knowing where I'm at, or nothing. No gas in the car. I'm getting out there in the country, in the country road, like in Ku Klux Klan bill. I'm like, what am I thinking? I just worried about the phone that damn much. So we just need to set these phones down and apps and all that stuff and take them of what they are, is a source of entertainment. And it's, it's nobody's life's on there no better than your life, or what you can make out of it at your own self. And you need to approach it as just entertainment, because it is a lot of silly shit that goes on in it. No different than the TV. But like I said, anything that has a kid that, like I said, still in a stroller or something like that, it can work a damn phone better than me. That can't be a good thing, unless they finna be some kind of pilot or some kind of aviation game to train them into start training them into pilot or something like that. But like I said, that's my take on the social media thing. I mean, it's not only social media; it's just the phone in general that needs to be rested something more.
Well,
you
guys,
got people sitting on the couch texting each other.
Well, that's a whole different thing, that whole texting. All I got to say is people text more than they talk. So, guys, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. This is like a really important conversation for me for a couple reasons, but I really appreciate you guys taking the time. I'll be right back with you guys in a few minutes. I want to see, as Black women, you have to understand there's a different life for Black men. And at all times, I would really ask you to be more supportive, to hear them, and not always just assume. Being a Black woman is difficult, but being a Black man is even more difficult. Racism is more alive for them than it is for us, because some things are acceptable, allowable as a woman, but as a Black man, it's not. So the only thing I can tell you is that if you know a young Black man, or you know a Black man, period, who is an adult, sometimes just go give them a hug and just tell them that you love them and you respect them, and be there for them. Because sometimes it's just that little bit of encouragement that matters. And I know I seem a little hard sometimes on my male cast, but I'm going to tell you, I love all of these guys and I respect them 100%. And Matt's right. I may not cook, but I do a lot of other things. And he teases me about that all the time. But I will say to you, if you're looking for an opportunity to speak to someone about manhood, haven't watched this podcast, be sure to like us and follow us on YouTube. And we always would love to hear from you guys. So please leave messages for us in DM. And thanks again for watching Real Talk with the Men on the 5F's to Love Network.
you.